go back into open session.
Make a motion.
Second.
Roll call.
Trustee Pillowy.
Aye.
Trustee Gillis.
Aye.
Trustee Kreis.
Aye.
Trustee LaRue.
Aye.
Trustee Maskell.
Aye.
Trustee Schavoni.
Aye.
Okay, we'd be looking for a motion. Ellen, do you want to explain the abatement, how you changed it, and then?
Sure, so.
Can we go back 1 second so I understand this? On the form that you emailed us today, and correct me if I'm stating it wrong, we have a balance as of 2/24, $606,184.55 from the two taxes, the water surcharge and the gas. Now, if you're saying that we can only abate what we have, why can't we use that figure if that's what we have right now? Why are we?
Because that money is already pledged, because it came from last year, it's already pledged to pay the August payment that is due this year. So I've got to account for that.
What about accounting for any revenue between 2/24 and 8/1?
That's not in the bond document, you have to have it to abate.
That's why I think it gets sticky, Jerry, because we know we're gonna have the money to pay it.
Right.
But according to the bond rules, it sounds as if you can't abate it unless you actually already have it sitting there in the account.
Well, that's security for the bondholders right now, so.
Okay.
I'm sorry, go ahead, Ellen.
So of the bond amount of the $726,700 amount levied, we are able to abate up to the 356 or 370
The 356 number.
356. So we will insert 3 lines in the abatement ordinance in other areas, one being streets, and abate $283,000 there, municipal buildings, $45,000 there, and building and zoning, $28,000 there. That totals up to $356,000, so our net tax, if you will, what remains on the tax rolls for the residents will stay the same amount.
Yeah, I'm sorry, could you go over those one more time?
Sure.
And I will send you all a clean
Yeah.
copy.
Please.
So streets, we will abate $283,000.
Okay.
I think it's right now, there's 422 in there. Municipal buildings has 89,000 levied, we will abate 45,000. And building and zoning has 57,370, and we'll abate 28,000. If you add those 3, that should get us to 356.
And plus we're abating, how much off of the
Plus, we will abate, from middle
Salary.
column, 370.
370. Yeah.
270?
Yes. Of the 2010 payment.
So we're gonna abate a total of $940,065 of the bonds.
The total doesn't change.
No, that's total bond, is
That will
that,
change,
Right.
yeah.
That number changes.
and that would mean this would also have to be 940,65.
Right.
So the total amount paid still remains at $1,300,000. Out of that total levy.
Off the total levy, yes. The mix will change between bonds and other items.
And then someone has to make sure that that money gets back into those accounts that come in from the surcharge and the gas.
Back into streets and everything? Back into what we abated from the other ones? I don't know if we can. I don't think legally we can. Gas tax we can. Gas tax I don't think is a debt service account, as I understand it.
No, these two have got to stay in the account.
Gas tax too, because I don't know if gas tax was ever reserved.
3 cent gas tax.
3 cent was? Okay, all right.
MFT is not the three.
And
was
It's
thinking.
not MRT, no, it's a 3 cent plus, okay, so no. We get the, they're gonna be short. Well,
Just give me a second.
on the,
We'll do a whole clean copy of it.
Well, I just want to make sure that,
Okay.
I guess to be the devil's advocate here, this is nothing to do with appropriations. This is from appropriations.
It's
Is that
from
right?
appropriations.
Okay, so are we leaving these departments potentially short?
We can transfer funds. Line items.
As long as we don't go over the total amount?
Correct.
Okay, all right.
Check and double check.
some of these are gonna change, so,
Right.
well, I know what these are.
Okay.
I'm not coming up with the better.
On the total,
Right,
you have to insert lines above, right, where we don't have a vacancy already.
that's what I did. And we're abating 940,065 for bonds.
Yes.
$1,296,000 is what the total is.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'd be looking for a motion to approve the new updated compromised abatement just developed here this evening.
What if we call it the abatement ordinance as amended in open session this evening?
There you go.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Any further discussion? Roll call.
Trustee Masko,
Aye.
trustee LaRue,
Aye.
trustee Gillis,
Aye.
trustee Kreis,
Aye.
trustee Killily,
Aye.
trustee Shivani.
Aye.
That is all I have this evening.
Okay, thank you. Trustee Killily.
I have a few things. We talked about last meeting that I thought we should try to create an ordinance mandating either disclosure prior to the sale of property about flooding and mold, or home inspection, or both, and there turns out to be substantial legal issues with that. And since our regular attorneys are here, he's done the research on it, I asked that we defer the discussion until next meeting. Community rating system, we're of course continuing to work on that, but we do need some data and expertise from Robinson Engineering, which is gonna cost us money. So I don't feel comfortable, asking Jeff for that without the board approving that amount of money to be spent. So I'll ask Jeff, we'll ask Robinson for what we think we need from, for that, for the application, and together with how much that should cost the village, and then at the next meeting, we'll ask if the board wants to spend that amount of money, get the approval on it for that expenditure.
Don, if I could just interject, we're trying to get the money as part of the South Suburban Mayors and Managers is gonna put together.
Yeah, but we can't wait that long.
Well, they're moving on it pretty quick.
Well, okay, so I was at the
I'm
meeting,
hoping,
and
I'm
I was at the
hoping.
meeting, and basically, they're trying to attach it to the April, to the
The flood
Lomar.
The Lomar,
Right,
correct.
so if they can do that, that's fantastic.
Yes,
And I don't know.
I was having a conversation about that yesterday, so
Right.
stay
I mean,
tuned.
we're gonna hold off as long as we can, but if they can't, then that's something we have
We
to
have
move
to move
forward
on.
on. Yeah, if we can get the
I'm
grant
trying
money.
to find money,
You're right, we
grant
get the
money
grant
to
money,
do
that's
it.
great. We got the attention of the county on it.
We do.
The Community Ready Service, yes. Jawa, we hit a conference call again, and basically they're definitely on the path of dissolution. They're just trying to figure out how to do it with all the lawyers and the bank and this and that and blah, blah, blah. So it will happen hopefully within the next 2 months. And the only other thing that we talked last time a little bit about the collection agency for ambulance revenues, and it's just, we talked a lot about, how much we're collecting from here and there and this and that. So I would like to suggest that the board get a report from each collection agency quarterly to see what is actually being collected and in what areas. I think that would make it much clearer, because seeing it in front of us, I think it will hit home better rather than hearing the reports verbally.
I can arrange that.
And that's all.
Okay, thank you. Trustee Mosco.
Yes, 2 items tonight. The first is, recently, we awarded salary increases to 2 of our non-union employees as a result of them taking on some expanded responsibilities. And I want to state that I'm very familiar with at least one of these employees, and I think she's done a fantastic job. And there's no doubt that even the increased pay amount is still less than what a neighboring community would pay for the same quality work. That having been said, we have a number of other employees in the village in the same situation that we've heard about over the last several months, particularly in Public Works. There's a handful of employees. We also have some individuals in the building department and administration that fall into the same category. The village board has also been asked by the police department to look at non-union command staff pay scale, and I believe there's also some requests related to the fire department structured rank, which may impact pay as well. All of these have been put on hold while we're trying to get a better understanding of our financials. And while I think it's unfortunate we found ourselves in this situation, I think it would be best if we were to rescind these until we get to a point where we can consider all the requests in fairness to all of the employees involved. Thoughts?
I disagree, strictly because, like I said, I've seen these 2 individuals. They have gone above and beyond. They have been working exceptionally hard. We're still very short-handed compared to what the village used to have in the front office. And with the removal of the old administrator up in the front office that I let go, they've taken on a lot of those extra activities as well while I was saving that money. And while I didn't feel I was being over-absorbent with what I asked for a raise increase, I think they're more than entitled to it. I understand Public Works and police and fire, and that's just never going to be a never-ending stream that we have to kind of always be looking at and always be willing to address. I felt that I followed the proper procedures. I feel bad because I believe they're entitled to it. Without having a policy manual, it makes it very difficult for me to know how to function up here in the village. I've been being promised for almost 2 years now that I'd have a policy manual. I don't see even a rough draft of the policy manual. And one of the concerns that Tom Dart had yesterday when he was in my office and starting everything, first thing he asked for was a policy manual and the employee handbook, and I had nothing to give to him. And so when I put it in, I thought, this is the way we set up it, this is how we're gonna do it, and I just wish I would have been told prior to them saying, yes, you can have it. I submitted it to the finance chairman, and he signed off, turned it in. I thought I had done everything correctly, and for me now to have to go back to these people and say, oh yeah, no, wait, we have to hold on this, I feel it makes us it puts us in a very bad light. But that's just my opinion.
If I could just add, when we granted a building department employee a raise last year, the board voted on it. It's been typical that the board votes. And Mayor, I I think you are referring to me about the policy manual. Yes, you had asked me to take charge of that task, and I attempted to, and we formed a committee, and we had several meetings, and trustee LaRue and trustee Killy were on that committee. One of the policies, the vacation policy, is still with the attorney. Unfortunately, I've been sidetracked. Most of you know, I write most of the village's grants. It's an enormous undertaking, enormous. And then when I get the grants, I have to manage them.
Yes.
And that's an enormous undertaking. So, you know what, I don't really know that there's an apology due for not having the policy manual done. We can certainly revisit it, but then something else is gonna have to give. Because I'm also trying to do economic development, meeting with these people, on the phone with these people. So, you know what, in most communities, a staff person would be writing the policy. So, again, we'll do the best that we can. I think the policy committee would more than be happy to meet again, but again, we were focused on many of the financial issues that we're still focused on. So, it's a tremendous balancing act, and I just felt I had to say that.
Well, with policies, we're all three on the policy committee, not just you.
Right, but I
So,
was
mean,
asked to chair it. I was asked to chair it.
All of us did do it, and you know, even to the point of, you know, I think the mayor followed procedure. Is that right? Is it about mayor follow proper procedure? We haven't set a procedure over a certain amount of money. Does the board have to approve the pay raise or none or full or whatever? And you know, I don't think it's the issue of the mayor of the policy so much. I think it's the issue of, are we really being fair to the people who have waited for raises? You know, how long ago did the public works?
April last year.
April of last year, and they haven't got any.
Correct.
Is that right? Is that they haven't got any raise?
Correct.
And I think, you know, part of it here again, we go back to, okay, we don't know if we have the money to do it, and so on and so forth, and this amount of money, and the mayor thought, well, this was something that we can afford, and is to reward to employees without breaking the bank. I think, you know, that would be a major thing, but I don't know if it's fair to the people who have been holding on, you know, waiting for a raise. It doesn't feel fair to me.
I also have to say, I don't think it feels fair. We have union contracts that are coming up in May that we don't have any choice. We have to give raises out. Our contractual agreement. One of the things that I feel very adamant about is that I still don't think we should balance the budget based on depriving non-union workers a raise by giving just union workers a raise. I believe that if we're doing this for two individuals that we have done this for, we have decreased salaries by employees leaving. If we were to look at our salary line item, I believe the salaries that we're asking for the promotions that have taken place, we're not going over what we allocated for salary. So, you know, I don't see why, if we're going to do it this way, we should do it for everybody. We have raises coming up in May. It's been past practice, and I know that, yes, we're saying we don't have the money, but we have the money in the salary budgeted amount that was allocated for this budget year, based on people who have retired, people who have left. I know that we have more than enough to cover the $1 an hour raise that the public works supervisors were asking for, and the raises that the mayor put out. I also believe that we're having additional non-union employees that should be due for a raise too, that have been sitting back. I think we need to look at the big picture here. If we have the surplus of allocated money left in salaries, then we should use it fairly for every employee, not just handpick one or two.
Well, here's, you know, until this week, we didn't have to get financials for anything, and, you know, basically, it's always risky to say what's allocated, because we didn't know where we were. And I mean, that's why we've been waiting, because we didn't know where we were, you know. Could we make payroll, can we pay a water bill, you know, I mean, there's all sorts of things happen, that's why everybody's been waiting, so.
And we have another finance committee meeting a week from Friday. And I would suggest that this be a topic of discussion at the finance committee meeting. Again, hopefully we'll have reports, Alan, things to discuss. I mean, we're looking to see, do we have a surplus, do we have a deficit? And Gary, you just said you think we have a surplus.
Well,
We're trying to,
I'll put the numbers in the format we got it in. That's how I know how to use a calculator, and I added up the numbers and the revenues and the expenditures, and it's $200,000 a year surplus.
So we will discuss pay changes, salary increases, finance committee
But
and
as it stands right now, the raises stand,
table decisions around.
is that right? We haven't contradicted, you know, the raises are gonna stand then, until,
Till after the finance.
So we need to come up with a plan to address everybody,
Okay.
Right.
as Jerry said. I mean, that was my issue was more around being fair and equitable to those who've been waiting for a long time. Some of them are recurring things that have happened. You know, the command staff in the police department continues to be an issue every year. Structure rank is a result of changes. Public works is a result of changes. And again, as I said earlier, this is not about whether people deserve it or not. The fact of the matter is there's a lot of people who are working hard and picking up extra duties. And you know, sometimes the pay goes along with those changes. On a net basis, we've saved a lot in salaries over the last few years. There've been a number of changes to do that, so
And if I may
that's,
say something about the police department, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
that's what I'm trying to.
Since the police department was made aware of the financial woes a couple years, 3 years ago, they have done an outstanding job in cutting costs, increasing revenues, and becoming more efficient department under Chief Kaufman. And I concur with what Trustee Gillis has said, that they took the initiative and they made the changes that had to be made, and made streamline that department. So it needs to be all considered in the finance meeting, all the departments.
Yes.
and I think I voted on by the board because typically the raises are approved by the board. Everything, even from Public Works, all the recommendations came to the board. The structured rate, I don't know how many times it was on the agenda, and then it's been off the agenda, but everything typically comes before the board.
and that needs to be in the policy. You know, it does, because that's not a policy right now.
Anything
Past
else?
practice.
Anything else, Alan?
That is all I have.
Okay, thank you. Nothing for legal, I take it?
Nothing.
Okay, under my business, I'd be looking for approval of the Public Works January 2015 monthly report.
I'll make a motion.
Roll call?
Trustee LaRue,
Aye.
trustee Gillis,
Aye.
trustee Kreis,
Aye.
trustee Killily,
Aye.
trustee Moskowitz,
Aye.
trustee Schiavone.
Aye.
I'd be looking for the approval of the Fire Department January 2015 monthly report.
So moved.
I'll second.
Trustee Gillis,
Aye.
trustee Moskowitz,
Aye.
trustee Kreis,
Aye.
trustee Killily,
Aye.
trustee LaRue,
Aye.
trustee Schiavone.
Aye.
You were provided with the 2015 meeting schedule, showing that starting March 4th, we will return back to board, to committees every month. And dates and everything are here. Once it's approved, it'll be posted on the outside board and sent to the newspapers.
The schedule shows the board meetings the first and third Wednesdays of the month instead of the second and fourth as per ordinance. We can just do that, amend that.
Reverse them?
Just reverse.
Oh, okay. I just stayed in
Like we were
The
at.
order.
the
We're in
pattern. Okay, I can reverse them before I send this out.
Thank you.
So first and third committee meeting, second and fourth week, board meetings.
So I'd be looking for a motion to approve the 2015 meeting schedule.
As amended, I'll make that
As
motion.
amended, yes.
Second.
Roll call.
May I make a
Oh, sure, I'm sorry.
You know, I think having 4 meetings, I'm not necessarily upset about that, but I think it will create a lot of 20, 25-minute meetings, I think. The meeting schedule was in response to a perceived problem of maybe a line of communication, a communication that wasn't being received or discussed enough. I don't know. I don't know if this is gonna solve the problem, and I think we really needed to discuss what the board expects as far as communication from the mayor, and the mayor should discuss what communication she expects from the trustees, and I don't think this is gonna solve the problem, so I'm gonna vote no.
Roll call.
Trustee LaRue,
Aye.
trustee Schiavone,
Aye.
trustee Gillis,
Aye.
trustee Kreis,
Aye.
trustee Maskell,
Aye.
and trustee Killily.
Nope.
I'd be looking for the motion to approve the ordinance authorizing the sale of 2 ambulances.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Roll call.
Trustee Killily,
Aye.
trustee Kreis,
Aye.
trustee Gillis,
Aye.
trustee LaRue,
Aye.
trustee Maskell,
Aye.
trustee Schiavone.
Aye.
I'd be looking for approval of a letter of intent to purchase the village-owned property on Cicero Avenue. I provided you with the offer from Drive Time.
At this point, I'd like to make a motion to table that. I think this needs more vetting, more discussion. We just received this on Monday, and with all of the other activity and interest that is on Cicero Avenue, I really think the board needs more time to digest this and to discuss it.
I agree also.
I have a motion second to table. Roll call.
Trustee Kreis,
Aye.
trustee Gillis,
Aye.
trustee Killily,
Present.
trustee LaRue,
Aye.
trustee Maskell,
Aye.
trustee Schiavone.
Aye.
I also provided you with a quote to fix the audio equipment in both the firehouses. From what I'm understanding, they have no communication because the speakers and the amps are broken in the Firehouse 2, and the one in Firehouse 1 is like on its last legs. So this was a quote to fix both of them when they were out here. I believe the total quote to fix both firehouses,
2004-40-60.
there you go.
Can Chief Hotwire try to explain this to us? Because we just got the stuff like.
Sure. Yeah, down station 2, the speakers and apparatus don't work. We had J&L come out and look at that, and the amp was blown. Back when they got the radio equipment, they decided to purchase a used amp to save money. So it lasted 4, 5, 6 years, whatever it's been, but it blew. So they got to redo that and fix the wiring. At station 1, the speakers are all distorted. The speakers that are in there are like talking to a bullhorn rather than an actual speaker. You can't hear any of the calls out there. You know, guys are constantly trying to listen to their pages, so we're trying to get that fixed. When they looked at it, they said all the wiring shot. It's all old. Who knows how old the wiring is. So they're talking about putting 2 speakers in the front apparatus bay and 1 in the back and rewiring it. And replacing the amp at station 2. And the total is, that's what the total is to do the repairs through J&L, who does all our equipment, communication equipment.
Thank you.
Looking for a motion?
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
Roll call.
Trustee Maskell,
Aye.
trustee Gillis,
Aye.
trustee Kreis,
Aye.
trustee Killily,
Aye.
trustee LaRue,
Aye.
trustee Schiavone.
Aye.
Can I interrupt?
Sure.
I forgot to mention that the police department did have work done this week to get their power on the backup generator so that they won't lose power to their phones and computers when we lose power. Thank you.
They're all hooked up now finally?
I believe so.
Okay, I knew it had started, I didn't get the final, we're up and running, I guess, that's good news, thank you. Next one we don't need. I got an invitation from Ricky Rockets Fuel Center. They want to put together a presentation for the residents, to get the residents' input. They've scheduled it on Monday, March 9th at 7 p.m. They're using the Park District. They have invited the board, and we'd like to be there. If we plan on the majority of us attending, I'll post it that we're gonna be at a meeting over at the Park District altogether. Just to be in the Open Meetings Act, if we all get together, we're supposed to do that. So, if you could let me know if you plan on attending, I can make sure I take care of that. Lastly, like I said, I'm working with Tom Dart's office. The Village Hall employees have been wonderful. They said yesterday, or when they were out yesterday, that they would be talking to the different departments. They did say when the news got out that we had gone to bringing Tom Dart on, their office got quite a few phone calls, and they are addressing every issue that comes to their office. They plan, if they need be, they asked if they could contact any of you, and I said, yes, that's not a problem. Most of us are usually within an earshot of the Village Hall and can be easily reached. So they are just starting. They will be using Joe McDonald's old office, which right now no one's using, to do their work. They're asking for, like I said, a lot of the information about the bonds, and they looked into the pension funds. So ultimately, I don't know how long this process is gonna take, so I will keep you up to date when they report to me. And that's all I have for this evening. Clerk Colstead?
Okay, I have a couple of things. First is correspondence that came in to Honorable Sharon Ryback, President, Village of Midlothian, from the Office of the Clerk of the Circuit Court of Cook County. Dear Honorable Ryback, on behalf of Honorable Dorothy Brown, Clerk of the Circuit Court of Cook County, Illinois, Clerk's Office Women's Advisory Committee, and J.P. Morgan Chase and Company, we're pleased to announce that you have been selected to receive an outstanding Woman Elected Official Certificate of Recognition during our Women's History Month event. The program will be held in the Chase Towers Auditorium at 10 South Dearborn, Chicago on Tuesday, March 24th from 5:30 to 7:30 p.m. This year we are recognizing several women elected officials at state, county, and municipal levels. We wish to commend you for rising to a level of outstanding leadership and distinguishing yourself as a woman in elected office. Congratulations. We look forward to having you join us on this day. It was signed by Jolene R. Strong.